That was fantastic.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, so good.
The opinions expressed in this clip today are that of the hard bastard and should be taken very seriously. And now, folks, the man that deconstructs bullshit on YouTube, the one, the only, the hard bastard.
I am the hard bastard. I deconstruct various types of bullshit on YouTube. The majority of shit I've been doing lately is debunking bullshit from the media, and a lot of that is I was in a cult and I escaped from said cult, and throughout that I learned about propaganda and propaganda techniques, and I started to notice that news outlets were using the same techniques in their segments, and so I started making videos about that, and apparently people like that. So it's all the various platforms: MSNBC, CNN, BuzzFeed, and I think the last video I did was about Chris Cuomo's bad week last week, where he was suggesting that somehow it was intolerant for a girl to not want to see dicks in the bathroom, and then he proceeded to compare being called fake news as some sort of racial slur. And the third one, is when he compared his reach. He said he was going to do Mark Dice a favor and give him attention, I think not realizing that Mark Dice, with like 10% of the amount. Oh yeah, and the final thing I think was Mark Dice was trying to explain to Chris Cuomo that because they were talking about children, and that you should explain like the various basic biologies to children, and Chris Cuomo's response to Mark Dice was a sarcastic, do you want some attention? And even though Chris Cuomo has 1.1 million Twitter followers, somehow Mark Dice with 10% of that has 4 times the reach. And so then there was a dispute on whether or not the majority of Chris Cuomo's Twitter followers are fake. And then there's also instances of the New York Times and the Washington Post getting busted, buying followers, or not followers, but buying traffic from China. And then when they stop doing that, you can see a massive drop in their readership. So that's, in a nutshell, the type of bullshit I dissect on the channel.
I have a question.
Yes.
Hard bastard, why is Chow Yun Fat your avatar?
Yeah.
I love the old school Hong Kong action movies, and that's basically, it's really nothing very deep. That's pretty much it.
Have you ever seen that movie Old Boy?
No, I hear it's good. You're the second person to bring it up.
Not the American version.
No, never.
No.
Oh my god,
Never
it was
the
so
American
bad.
version.
It was so bad. It was laughably bad.
You have to go back and watch the original like 4 times to wash it out of your brain.
Really?
Yeah.
That's my
And
recommendation.
it's one of the best, like, that's the one with like the continually shot fight scene down the hallway, right?
Hard bastard, if you don't break in, I just said if you want to hear from him, press 1, and they're all going to hang me if you don't say something about this, dude.
I would say, like, in a fantasy world, I could say, oh, that sucks. I'm so glad we don't have to deal with that shit in America. Now, technically, that's true. There aren't any laws in the book at this point like that. However, there are, I guess you would call it mob rule, where you have the exact same type of insane thinking, but instead of it being enforced legally, it's being enforced. I mean, this is generally a more recent turn of events, but it's being enforced by violence. You have speakers going to college campuses, and now, I guess, since the police and the administrations of the universities have been laxed in how they've handled this shit in the past, people feel emboldened to actually commit violence if they don't like a person and what they have to say. And then even like on Twitter, there's not technically laws about this shit in America, but people are being held to
You're
that
really
standard.
well read on this stuff. Could you give me one example of violence, or maybe one person? I don't want to pump your prime too much.
Oh, the one that just happened at Middlebury. I think his last name is Murray. He works, I think, at the same place. I think he's a scholar at the same place Christina Hoff Sommers is. I'm not 100% sure on that, but he was at Middlebury. I think it's in Vermont.
Is that Charles Murray? I think he was the co-writer of The Bell Curve.
Correct. Yeah. He was just trying to give a speech in a college in Vermont, and the students protested, and it got to the point where while he was leaving, the crowd got violent, and then there was a female professor who was trying to help him get away from the violent mob, and then they attacked her.
She went to the hospital.
Yes, that is correct. You obviously have the previous incident. Regardless of what your opinions on Milo are, you have the whole riots in regards to that, and then you have the reaction from politicians on the left and celebrities on the left supporting this, and then you have like Loretta Lynch coming out with a video, I think it was yesterday or Saturday, talking about how, I mean, she basically was speaking as if we're in the 60s right now, and that people have to, may very well have to die, and blood may have to be spilled over, she says, what's going on, but she doesn't define what's going on. She's claiming that, people are losing their rights. And I would just like to see one example of this as far as what rights are being taken away from who. And the people who are rioting are not even rioting for things like alleged voter suppression. They're rioting because they don't like what people are saying. There's an iconic picture going around Twitter right now of some fucking retard who has a giant free speech sign that he lit on fire, and he's giving the middle finger. So let me say the main parts of this that I take issue with are the idea that you would couch valid, making clear we're talking about valid criticism, that you would couch, or I would couch valid criticism of someone because there's a collective. I outright reject that.
Yes.
And the only other thing that through all this that I absolutely outright reject were when people were suggesting that somehow the viewers who were giving valid criticisms to some of these YouTubers were the problem, or they were somehow wrong in doing that. That I don't agree with either.
Yeah, no, everybody, like, infighting, I'm fine with. Everybody should be subjected to criticism if they do or say something stupid. Even if you do or say something that just one person thinks is stupid, they should be able to tell you, hey, I think that was stupid. And you should be like, okay, I don't care what you think.
Yeah,
doing what
I agree with that. I think that's why I like the Harmful Opinion Sargon stream, because a lot of streams that happen, people are generally agreeable, which there's no problem with. But that one was interesting because they basically disagreed with each other throughout the entire thing, and I enjoyed that. I thought that was good because I respect both of them, and that was like a nice, I don't know, I like that. I don't view that as a bad thing.
I think that's why I had so much fun with my chats with Angry MGTOW, because we don't agree on many, many, many things, and that made the chat even more fun.
It's boring to go around circle jerking everyone.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
and I'm sorry, I was talking to someone, but who were you saying you found interesting to watch?
Talking to me?
Yeah.
The live stream with Harmful Opinions and Sargon when they were
Oh my
talking
God,
about Candid.
I just finished the second half of that today because I was thinking of like the quintessential infighting topic, and it was so funny the entire time, especially near the end where Harmful Opinions was just giving him the runaround with like all the questions back at him, and Sargon was like choking over. And I love both of the guys. I love both of them, so it's just amazing.
You know what I liked about that, and what I thought was so fascinating, and I could be wrong, it's hard to know what's in people's minds, but it seemed like at one point, I respect both of them, that's why I like this, and what was interesting is it seemed like Harmful was kind of, when Sargon was talking about how difficult it is to have a situation with like hundreds of thousands of subscribers, Harmful Opinions was saying, so you mean like, the grind of it? And I really thought he was kind of like channeling Anita Sarkeesian. like very cleverly. Now I could be absolutely wrong in this observation.
You're not
crazy,
wrong.
but I was like, wow. And I don't think Sargon picked up on it in the beginning, but then I think when he had said to him, like, you know, I know what you're doing, stop it. I think he figured it out. I thought that was like fantastic chess. Like I really, like I don't have a problem with stuff like that. I thought it was great.
Well, he definitely was employing a tactic. It's like, I'm not going to put anything really out there for you. I'm going to throw questions at you and see how you lob them back to me.
And give you nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And eventually he's like, come on, you know what I'm saying. I know you know.
Yes.
And I found it funny because he was like, I know you know, I know. And
yeah, I agreed with harmful. I was definitely more on his end because I don't think ultimately, even though it's a nice sentiment that Sargon had, I don't think you can control it. So I don't really worry about things I can't control. Even if you believe people are beating a dead horse with Candid, you can't control whether or not they're going to talk about it. So it's like, why worry about it? Yeah, I mean, I don't, like, I call myself, like, sometimes atheist, sometimes agnostic. Like, if that's an issue, I mean, that's, I guess, so be it. I don't have a problem if people have personal religious beliefs. The only time I would ever bring it up is if they're trying to proselytize or trying to, like, bring it in a debate. And then, obviously, I'm going to become, I guess, what would be considered hostile, but I'm not offended by the idea that people believe in God. I personally don't. I don't believe in any of the organized religions. But if a person, like, especially right now, if you are on board, particularly with freedom of speech, unless you're trying to throw it in my face or suggest some way that, like, I need to accept Jesus Christ, you know what I mean? So unless you're doing that, then I'm on board with you, because we're in like a bit of a situation here with the censorship. Like it's starting to get to a point where I don't know if we're going to come out of this the same way we went into it. It very well could get a lot darker. And if we have people who happen to be religious, but they're on board with like true freedom of speech, and they're even on board with people who are criticizing their religion, not necessarily personally to their face, but just in general. If you're on board with that, then I mean, I think we should find some sort of allyship in that. I would say it's innate in our species for survival. And now also depends on how you want to define morality. Like,
okay, now that I see, I'm going to let you continue, but as soon as you're done and sorry, Day is Dead, you jump in. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, like a base morality, I think we evolved with it, and we couldn't survive without it, with the basic shit like not murdering. But other than the fundamentals, a lot of things that people label moral, I don't see. I think it's irrelevant. Like you know, the movies you watch, or who you fuck, or you know, various shit like that. That I don't think is. I mean, if some people want to have morality like that, I have no problem with it. But the definition of morality, I think there's just a base. Well, I guess what we call morality, that we, at least those of us that are in cultures that are like kind of more advanced, base it off of just fundamentals of not doing things that are going to threaten the furtherance of your group or species. I literally don't give a shit.
Unless you're
what are we talking about? Yeah, don't.
They said
I mean, nothing.
They said you were a CIA plant. They said the same thing about the Britisher, only they said he was faking his act.
That's fine. Look, here's the thing. Like, no one should trust anything I say outside of what I prove. That's it. That's it. You should not be like in any way going by anything other than what I am proving in the video. And if I fuck up and get something wrong, then call it out. But as far as like, and that, you know, actually this is interesting because it brings up like what the reaction is. And I think that people, for some reason, put in like they hold people at too high of a level where like, when they fuck up, people are like freaking out. Now, I'm not talking about like genuine
hero
like,
worship.
No. Like there are times where it's completely warranted. Like with some of the people and how they acted with Candid was completely fucked up. But I'm talking about like there tends to be people like literally waiting to start a so-and-so is over hashtag based off of like an opinion they disagree with. And what I'm saying is like, I don't think, I don't know. I mean, maybe this is the way I think. I don't hold people to a standard. I only hold them by how they treat information. And if they treat the information honestly, then that's it. That's all I can go by, because we're all total strangers. We don't know each other. So if people are skeptical of me, I have no issue with that whatsoever. And if they want to think I'm a CIA plant, that's fine. I don't know. You know, the other thing though is like, I fully believe that in the total freedom for people to post whatever the fuck that they want. If they want to post shit like that, that's fine. Because we're in such a bad spot with censorship. There's no way I'm going to say anything to anyone commenting it. It's all good, other than what gets automatically thrown into the spam folder, which I have no control over. Say whatever the fuck you want, other than illegal shit or child porn shit. That's it.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree.
Well,
if you're going to be on YouTube, you have to learn to take some shit.
You gotta have thick skin. That's why I want everybody to know that my shit's a joke. It's an act. If you haven't watched my channel, I like act out scenes for movies. If you think I'm mad, it's because you're stupid. If I get mad, it's because there's money in it. If I'm Jewish, there's no money in it, I don't fucking do it.
I say it's Alex Jones with a beard, people.
Hey, I take
Bill
offense to
Hicks.
that, sir. I think Alex Jones is a mouth-breathing moron. Also,
Alex Jones is
I would
Bill
humbly say that I am the Britisher or the hard bastard with a beard, and that would be humbling to me.
Hey,
But the Alex Jones, I would put I would put anybody on this panel against Alex Jones right now. Base Mama, you too.
He can talk. He's a good talker, though. I
Just
respect his
one
talking
favor.
game.
Just do us one favor.
Amen.
Say
If
they're
anything-
turning the frogs gay.
Listen,
Didn't they
folks,
prove that
you
was
want to
real,
know
though?
something right here? They're putting fluoride in the water. You think that's nothing to you? I'll tell you what, the frogs are fucking each other. They're making little gay frogs, and I'll tell you something, people, those are chemtrails up in the sky. You think that's just condensation is because you ain't read all the shit that I've read. My father was a dentist. I know what the hell I'm talking about. Was that good enough?
Yeah, that
Yes.
dude,
What
I
have I
think
done?
if anybody's a plant, it's Alex Jones to make the conspiracy
Amen.
theorists seem crazier. Because
Do
didn't
you
you know
know
they really
that
were
the-
turning the frogs gay?
He's a
No.
DNC
They were.
plant.
They are turning the frogs
DNC
gay.
plant.
So
But-
he's saying true shit, but he's making it seem crazy.
That's
Sometimes
true.
he is. Sometimes he's actually crazy. But did you hear
Yeah.
that he's Bill Hicks?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
heard that,
I've
and oh my god.
Hey, Bill
he
Hicks,
looks
man,
and
the sucking
sounds-
Satan's cock. If anybody hasn't watched that, any artist, and man, I gotta shut up. I'm drunk. I'm gonna shut up right now. I'll give you my opinion after the 2 hours because I'm the one supposed to keeping this thing on the rail. Go ahead.
Good. I was just gonna say that fucking he does look and sound like Bill Hicks, but I'm about to have to go because my husband got home and he's waiting for his dinner.
Well, Amanda
Aw.
Wolfchild, I would like to give you at least 1 minute to plug your channel, and then I have something specially prepared for you, young lady, that I will say when you are completed.
Okay, well, I mean, y'all just go check me out if you want to. Like everybody up here said, believe me or don't, it doesn't bother me either way. I know I'm being honest and just being me, but everybody has to fucking make their own opinions and believe or disbelieve whatever shit they like or don't like. Just go watch my shit if you want to. Don't if you don't. It doesn't affect me.
Wow. So
Besides
well said.
monetarily.
It does.
I will say this as Amanda Wolfchild is signing off, and I'm sure we'll have a thing to say about her amongst the panel because she was so cool. Amanda Wolfchild, if you would like to see a really cool icon that will make you feel empathy by her very brows moving up and down, you could do a lot worse than swinging by Amanda Wolfchild's channel. Take yourself 5 or 10 minutes. If you do that, folks, you will be hooked. Thank you, Amanda, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun, y'all.
Yeah, nice to meet
Thanks,
you.
Amanda. You were awesome.
Have a good night.
Bye, guys. You're all great.
Bye.
All right, and I think right now we've been walking on everybody, so I'm going to throw it to the boss right now, who on this particular live stream, his day is dead. But Base Mama, if you've had anything you've been stewing at back there, I know that you've been here and hanging in. I so much give you so much respect, girl. I take my hat off and show my bald head to you, Base Mama. So if you have anything to say,
No, it's
please
cool.
say it.
It took a veto. I'm good.
All right. So if you have something to say,
I'll
go
be
ahead. And if
a
not,
little bit high, but I'll be there with.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm way ahead of you. I'm stoned out of my gourd, and I've already drank a half a pint of Jack Black and 4 Coronas. That's before I
Oh
drank a
my God.
6-pack and took a nap earlier today because
How
I
are
was
you
gearing
not
up
on
for
the
this live
floor?
stream.
I do want to say something.
Because I have an agreement with John Barleycorn.
Bastard is a CIA plant. Clearly, don't know a lot about the CIA. That would imply that they actually have their fucking shit together, and they don't. So, just saying.
Oh,
That was a good plug.
Talking about secret services, there was a wonderful headline just 1 or 2 days ago here in Britain that they now wish to diversify MI6 because
With what?
It's too white and it's too male.
Oh.
So they now,
But Britisher, you said something specific on your channel. I hope that you say it today.
Yeah, basically what we need is more, disabled black lesbian women in MI6, clearly, because it's worked such wonders for the BBC. I mean, their standard has just plummeted since they've done this diversity nonsense.
Hey, they'll be the ultimate plant. Nobody will suspect them.
The KGB right now will be trying to hire lots of disabled black gay women in the hope that they're taken into MI6.
That's their counter-espionage.
So you got that base mama and you got that everybody hard bastard. He said that they need to hire more gay, black, crippled women in wheelchairs.
Well, they've got these kind of diversity regulations which they brought in the BBC. That in the BBC by 3 years' time, they have to have all the staff and all on-screen talent must be 50% female.
Wow.
It must be 16% black or Asian.
You said, wow, hard bastard. I want you to comment as soon as he's done.
Okay.
It must be 8% disabled. They're setting these quotas, and their entire staff. I mean, the BBC, a very large organization,
I have a question.
Including.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Are there that percentage of quote diverse people actually in the population, or would you have to go out and get them?
I don't believe that actually the percentages of the population are of that scale. So these people would be overrepresented, but they never mind being overrepresented. It's the underrepresentation they've got a problem with. I mean, I kid you not. Today it was on the radio that the FA, that's the Football Association, or soccer as you colonials call it, the government has said that they will cut the funding for sort of grassroots programs that they give to the FA if they don't become more diverse at the boardroom level. And you just think, well, what the hell has this got to do with football? But it's just become a dogma that has just become completely sort of incessant in the entire political sphere. Everywhere there must be total representation. I mean, I kid you not, it was a year or two ago that someone I know was watching the Chelsea Flower Show. The kind of thing that the Queen goes to visit every year. And I happened to be in the room, and they had 2 BBC presenters on that particular time. And one of them sort of mentioned that, this time around, most of the exhibits were, of course, made by male garden designers. And both of them almost instantaneously fell into the line that, yes, what we definitely need is we need more female garden designers. Britain needs more female garden designers. And you think, surely if there is anything the world is entirely indifferent to, is how many female garden designers there are at any given time in the UK. It's just this incessant insistence that we must have complete equity in everything.
You said wow based off of the idea that you would force in people who may not necessarily be required or have the requirements for the job just based off of their race, because especially in the fields that feminists want women to be in, there's not necessarily a qualified pool to pull from. And the other thing is that the more cultish feminists like Anita Sarkeesian will tell women that like they're failing the movement if they decide, if they want to be something like a nurse, that they're actually failing the movement, that they should get into something like video game development or something where their females are underrepresented.
Yes.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think as far as like with the skeptic community, I think that the tricky balance is like on the one extreme, you have people who are outraged that viewers would criticize someone for unacceptable behavior. And then on the other end, you have people who are just like waiting for somebody to say something to disagree with and then start like that person is over hashtag. But I think regardless, like just the idea that like both sides should be allowed to say whatever the fuck they want. And the thing that I fundamentally, I guess, want to make clear is that any speech or influence that is somehow telling people that they should shut the fuck up is something that I generally am against. So that's pretty much even if I don't agree with like both extremes, telling them that they're wrong or part of the problem for expressing an opinion is where that's what I disagree with. So the fundamental thing is I reject the idea of not speaking because there's a collective. And I also think that there's people inside the quote community that do a really good job of hashing out differences with live streams and shit. And so disagreement, I think, is healthy. And so, yeah, that's, I think, pretty much the bottom line for me with that. No, I gotta go. Yeah.
I know you do.
That's it. I really don't have anything else to say. If people were wondering like what my viewpoint on Candid or any of that stuff was, I hope I covered everything that you wanted to hear. If I didn't, just tweet me, and if I have to make a separate video in regards to that, then that's fine. If I didn't cover any of the
do your spiel, hard bastard. Do your spiel. Tell them who the fuck you are.
I am the hard bastard. Thank you for watching.
I must say at this moment before anyone moves on, if you have half a brain, if you give a fuck about your future, if you want some real news as opposed to this nonsense they're peddling you and trying to tell you is the real thing, why don't you do yourself a favor? Why don't you do your family a favor? Why don't you go on ahead and give the hard bastard $5 a month? And if you can't do that, at least go sub to him. Watch him. Watch for the whole length of his whole deal there. It matters to him. It's the watch time. You could put $1 in his pocket without putting $1 in his pocket. That said, I'm done. Thank you, hard bastard.
You're very kind.
I love you, brother. Hey, can I get a verbal commitment? Hey, wait, before you go, can I get a verbal commitment on air right now to see you 2 weeks from today?
Yeah, on Monday after 7. Yeah, no problem.
Nice.
Love you, brother, for that. Love you so much for that. Thank you, bastard.
Thanks,
All right,
hard bastard.
All right, have a good one.
Take
See
care.
you.
Bye.
Wait,
And
MGTOWs are on board with fucking women? I thought they were completely anti-women.
Well, I should have quit you, baby. Should have quit you a long, long time ago. I should have quit you, mama. Oh, such a long, long time ago. I never would have found myself here in this predicament, down on this killing floor. Why so cruel? I should listen, mama. Should listen to my second mind. I should have took you, my little darling, and hit to my second mind.